I'm here at Golgotha, otherwise known as the place of the skull, where 3 days ago Pontius Pilate killed the King of the Jews. Jesus bar Joseph, a carpenter from Nazareth, was found guilty of sedition, although there is now some doubt about the legitimacy of the trial. He was dubbed by his followers as the King of the Jews, but now it turns out he was a criminal. He was brought here to Golgotha on Friday and crucified. Once the crucifixion was over, his body was taken by a local councilman, Joseph of Arimathea. He'd recently had his own tomb finished, but the body of Jesus was placed inside. With doubt as to whether he might rise from the dead, as his followers said, the tomb was sealed with ropes and a Roman seal and guarded by centurions. But this morning we heard the shocking news that indeed the tomb is now empty. A while ago, we managed to track down one of the 16 centurions who was guarding the tomb. We go now to his interview at a secure location. His appearance has been disguised to protect his identity. Do you believe that this man was indeed dead in the first place?
Oh yes, he was definitely dead. Let me explain. It had generally been a really weird afternoon. It all culminated in everything went dark and the earth started shaking and this Jesus fellow shouted out, "It's finished." As you can imagine, it was just all a little bit frightening, really. There was something special about that man. I couldn't put a finger on it, though. But it was the responsibilities of the soldiers there to make sure that the criminals were dead. So one by one we went through the 3 crosses, and the 2 criminals either side of Jesus, they were still alive. So as per normal, we had to break their legs to stop them being able to support themselves and breathe.
Right.
But when we got to Jesus, he was already dead. We didn't have to break his legs. But one of the others took their spear and stuck it in his side, and this blood and a clear liquid all flowed out. He was definitely dead.
Now, we all know that the penalty for sleeping on the job is execution. The body of this man has been removed from the tomb that you yourself were guarding. So can you explain to us in your own words just what occurred?
Well, you see, the authorities were really worried that his followers were going to come and steal the body.
Mm-hmm.
So Pilate ordered us to put a seal on the tomb. Now these seals were a really big rope that went round the rock and were attached, solidly attached, either side to the rock on either side of the tomb. Everybody knew that if they were to break that seal, then the penalty was death. Not just any death, but death by crucifixion upside down. In addition to that, we were also ordered to place a guard of 16 soldiers outside the tomb. There were 4 immediately outside the door, surrounding the rock that had that seal on it. And then there were groups of 4, 3 more groups of 4 fanning out away from the rock face where this tomb was dug. So a large area was guarded.
That's a lot of soldiers.
I was one of those guards. Now, I mean, we weren't just any old soldiers. That may sound big-headed, but we weren't just any old soldiers. We were legionnaires. We were a crack Roman set of soldiers who, well, we lived by a real strict set of rules. We were the most disciplined force around. You know, and one of those rules was, if we fell asleep on duty, whatever that duty was, if we fell asleep, then that would have meant us being burnt to death.
So what happened?
Well, one thing I can say is we weren't asleep. We were awake. It was our lives were at stake. We were awake. And just like the crucifixion, things just started to get really weird. The ground started shaking. This blinding light came down and shone on the door of the tomb, on this stone that was standing as a door. This blinding light shining on it, and we could see somebody standing in the middle. I tell you, we may be a crack team of soldiers, but we were scared. I was shaking. I couldn't move. The rest of them, they were cemented to the spot. They could not move. Before we knew it, the stone had been removed. It had rolled away. The opening to the tomb, it was open. It was there. Now we were scared for our lives. We weren't going back to the barracks. We knew what this meant. So we ran to the city. We went to speak to the priests. Well, we felt that at least they would understand us. They would understand our position. They would understand what was happening. They maybe even would stand and support our cause. However, I don't know whether I really should tell you this, but those priests actually offered us a large sum of money. They wanted us to tell the governors that Jesus' followers had come and stolen the body while we were asleep. Well, we were on the run by then. We weren't going back to our jobs. We knew what that meant. So we took the money and used our contacts to get the message back to the governors. But I'll tell you now, sitting here, there are two things I can confirm. We were definitely not asleep. And those followers of Jesus, they had absolutely nothing to do with it.
I'm here with Mary Magdalene, who this morning testifies that she actually saw the resurrected Jesus bar Joseph. Mary, can you tell us in your own words exactly what happened this morning?
Yes, so early in the morning, whilst it was still dark, I was heading towards the tomb, and I saw that the stone had been rolled away. It was gone, and Jesus wasn't inside. And I started to cry, and then I saw these two figures inside in white. Then he asked me, "Women, why are you crying?" And I said, "If you have taken him from me, then show me where you put him, and I'll go and get him." And then I heard this voice saying, "Mary." And then I knew it was Jesus, because no one else has never, ever said it like that. It was only him. I knew immediately it was him.
Wow, so what happened next?
So I ran as fast as I could to find the others, and I told them what had happened. And they thought I was mad. And I said, "Go and look for yourself." And two of them went to look, and they were amazed and shocked about what had happened. So we went back, and everyone was asking questions like, what if someone's stolen him? Who would do something like that? And then all of a sudden, we saw Jesus standing there in front of us all. And everyone was shocked, especially Thomas, and then he didn't believe it. He was like, "What's going on?" And then Jesus said, "Touch my hand," where he had the nails put in his hands. And then he fell to the floor and wept. And after that, we just sat and we ate some food as Jesus was hungry, and we started talking to each other. And it was really amazing.
This story might have more twists and turns to it than we first thought. Elaborate hoax, the truth? We'll leave it to the viewers to decide. This is Mary McScoop, TV News, Golgotha.